What's going on, IG family? It's your boy B back with another episode of NB3 Sports Talk. This is episode 3. If you're new to this, just wanted to let you know that this is something that I've always thought about doing. So I just finally put action into it, and this is episode 3. So I'm just trying to learn and grow. Also, tap into my YouTube channel, which I will be posting today's episode. B4 Sports, link is in my bio. Big shout out to my father. He's definitely helped me get this off up and running. Big shout out to my friend and my old roommate Neil as well. Just wanted to allow time for everybody to get here on the IG live. Thank you for everybody who's tuned in so far. And I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Just going to allow some time for everybody to get in before we get into the content. Until then, we're going to bring in my brother Neil. Once he gets on, we'll be able to start the episode. But like I said, this is something that I'm starting to do, sports talk. Here, I'm going to do it bi-weekly on Instagram Live. Eventually, we're going to have our own Instagram page. I see down in the comments what's up there. So just keep in tune for that. Like I said, there's a link in the bio for my YouTube channel, and today's episode will be in that YouTube channel. So just tune in. Be patient. We are still trying to get things going. Still trying to get the right equipment for our YouTube channel. But once it's up and rolling, for sure, we're going to get that content out to you. Just going to wait a couple minutes here for my brother Neil to tune in. We also will be joined by my father, like I mentioned, Big Nate. So just tune in. And like I said, we're expecting constructive feedback as well. If you see anything that we need to improve upon, anything, I'm open to any criticism, any constructive feedback on how to do this a little better, make this content better, and get it out to you guys. So just allow time for my brother Neil to tap in. Once he taps in, we can get right into the show. Today's topics, while we're waiting, today's topics are going to be the thoughts on the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance. I haven't done an episode since it has ended, so we're going to touch base on that. We're also going to touch base on the Dak Prescott contract dispute with the Cowboys. We're gonna get your opinion about that. See who has the upper hand. Who, if Dak is worth $45 million as last reported in the last year. Just see your viewpoints of that. Just waiting here for my brother Neil to tap in, and then we can get it going. Thank you for everybody who's tuned in so far. Definitely comment if you have any questions or any topics you want us to talk about as well. We can definitely get to that as well. So we're just going to give time here. Like I said, we're going to do this YouTube as well. B4 Sports, still going to have some NB3 content on there. Look for, as the season begins, NFL film breakdown. I'm still learning how to edit film, how to obtain that film legally as well. And once I get that down and down pack, we'll definitely have that up and rolling. We'll do things such as this week's picks for NFL and NBA once sports do resume. So just giving time here again. Meantime, give me 1 second here. All right, see my brother Neil tapped in. Well, send that request whenever you feel so, brother. We can get this rolling. Here we go. Yo, All
Let's
right.
go.
We tapped in. Got my brother Neil here. Shout out Neil. DJ Gemini as well. It's the DJ. Whenever coronavirus backs down and we can go back out, hook him up, call him for any parties, events that you need, man.
I got a baby shower on the 12th, but I don't even know. They ain't canceled yet. That's that Baltimore stuff, man. Like, people don't care about that stuff. People gonna party regardless.
Hey, whatever the money. So you gotta go.
I'm gonna be DJing with a mask on, bro. I swear to God.
All right, so we got my brother Neil here. Welcome, Neil. Just did an introduction. We're back
Uh-huh.
for episode 3 of NB3 Sports Talk. Um, like I mentioned, the topics earlier are going to be the Michael Jordan documentary. We haven't been on here since that has ended. We're also going to talk about Dak Prescott's contract dispute, and we're also going to talk about when sports should reopen amidst this pandemic. So I wanted to start by getting your thoughts on the Last Dance documentary.
Uh-huh.
What stood out most to you?
Well, first, as a sports fan in general, I think that what ESPN did during that 10-week thing was very good because it was like we ain't had nothing to watch. We ain't had no sports, no football, no baseball, no nothing. So the fact that we have something to look forward to on Sundays was good. As a sports fan, I really I like the documentary in that aspect. With all that being said, Michael Jordan is an acquired taste, my friend. He's
Elaborate
an,
a little further for me.
so like a lot of people probably still like Michael Jordan, the basketball player. Like, he's great. Nobody ever be like Mike. But the person that he is, I don't know, man. He's not for everybody. He's not for me. He's not for everybody. It's just like he's a very he's too competitive to the point where it's just like it's kind of like sick.
Okay.
And he kind of like but the thing about it is his style, the way he approaches the game and how he approaches his teammates, you can argue it saying like you may not like a aggressive leader. You might want like a passive aggressive guy like a Magic Johnson or LeBron that galvanizes people. But Jordan's the type of guy that will challenge you and damn near bully you. But his results work.
Right.
He got 6 rings out of it, so I can say what I want. Like, I don't write Michael Jordan as a person. He's kind of a douche, but the way he did it, it worked.
I feel
So
you. I feel you. Well, just touching on that topic, I see here that we have we got Big Nate down here commenting he didn't know about Steve Kerr. I didn't know about Steve Kerr and his father and his background as well.
yeah, I
That
ain't for that either.
new to me. Definitely learned that they connected on that way, but they never really talked about it. But they had that connection. Like, it's something that was known between those two. So definitely something that I learned. But going back to what you said about Michael Jordan, just the competitor that he was, you could look at, you could look at the person who is most similar to him, who's no longer here. Rest in peace, the late Kobe Bryant, and you could say, well, Kobe was an a-hole. Kobe wasn't the best to be around, or not everybody enjoyed
Mm-mm.
practicing with him. But like you said, that the results that are the only thing that matters. 5
Yeah.
championships is not to be overlooked, especially when you had 3 championships with Shaq, and then you got 2 on your own, going to 3 straight finals on your own as well without Shaq winning 2 of those 3. So it's something that's not for everybody. You can see based on the documentary with Michael Jordan, and then the documentary that will soon come out, probably no time soon, but for Kobe Bryant, you'll see that that's a different breed. Those two are different breeds. They're competitors to the point where they'll do anything it takes to win, including ripping off your teammate's head or your coach's head, your GM.
Fighting Steve Kerr after the game,
Yeah, see,
punching him in the face in practice.
and to touch on that, when he told me when he explained that situation with Steve Kerr and
uh,
how they got into that and how he was just coming back to the Bulls, I'm like, bro, you ain't even been here that long, and you punching dudes in the face.
he's still got that mystique though. Like, he's still Michael Jordan, man. Like, he still got that clout. So the Bulls, you just do whatever. Michael can do whatever he want.
Michael could do whatever he want, whenever he wanted. nobody would question him.
When you
Like,
got that, superstar leverage,
yeah, I read an
you can
article.
do whatever. You can do whatever you want.
6 cigars in a day as an athlete, like anybody would get basically plastered on the internet for doing that today. If LeBron smoked 6 cigars in a day, they would be going in on him on the internet. But
See,
it
and
was Jordan.
that's the thing. That's the social media. But I'm just like, you can tell Michael Jordan do some stuff now because you look at the interview, his eyes were just like,
Oh man.
oh, messed. I'm like, yo, he's on something.
Oh man. I was looking at him. I was like, man, is he high? Like,
He
is he
might be
good?
somebody's uncle at the cookout.
But yeah, a couple things that stood out to me about the documentary was how
Uh-huh.
they portrayed Scottie Pippen at first. I didn't like how they portrayed Scottie Pippen because they portrayed it as selfish and not a competitor when he had the migraines against the Pistons, and when he had the contract dispute with with the GM and the owner. But as it went along, they showed it. They kind of showed that Scotty was a warrior. Coming down to the last series, Scotty, and they didn't really show it within the films and the clips of the Last Dance. But if you go back and watch the Game 6 against Utah in Utah, Scotty was hurt. Scotty was hurt bad. He was limping up and down the court, and
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I had to go back and look at it afterwards. I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
didn't know that. I was like,
what they were
wow.
showing, he was grimacing, but he was still getting buckets, but he was really hurt. So that's a couple
Mm-hmm.
things that stood out to me. Another thing, like you mentioned earlier, Michael Jordan and this dry snitching, making himself look better, as I should say. One thing
So,
that the first
man,
thing that popped out to mind was when he mentioned when he first got to the league, how dudes was having girls and cocaine and liquor up in there. I was like, that was irrelevant. That was honestly irrelevant to me because it was what did that have to do with anything at that time? That
he
was
was Michael Jordan probably had that stuff too. He probably indulged. Ain't no way.
I mean, look at him now.
Ain't no way he didn't indulge in that.
I
Ain't
mean,
no way.
6 cigars a day, he had to do something, man. But yeah, that's a couple things that stuck out to me, and how the documentary was supposed to be about the Last Dance of the team of a whole, but how it came down to Michael Jordan, and we all knew that was going to come down to that. But I feel like he could have included a lot more than just the key players, Rodman and Pippen. I want to know about Cartwright. I want to know a little bit more about him.
Well,
Know about Horace Grant. They had Horace Grant on there, but I want to know a little bit more about Horace Grant and the alleged situation to when Michael Jordan withheld food from him. You know, they didn't really touch on those things, and I think it was
man, if
because
Michael Jordan did
Michael,
that to me, we fighting. Like it's like that's the thing I'm talking about. Like, he's an acquired taste. I'm like, we know your Mike,
right,
but because I'm not on your level and because I can't play like you, and guys like him and Kobe expect his teammates to be on his level, which is like impossible. So he wants greatness of everybody. But if I don't play up to my potential, you're gonna take away my food. I
right,
can't eat.
right,
Like that rubs me the wrong way. I'm just like, bro, if I don't score 20 points or get 10 rebounds or get 5 assists or we don't win the game, you saying I can't eat. I can't eat. That's that over the line stuff. That's
right.
that stuff. I'm like,
So we grown men. We grown men at this point. We 20 years old. I'm making my own salary just like you. I got a job just like you. And you gonna tell me because I didn't perform up to your standards, I can't eat? I would have stolen right in his face. Like you said, I think you and I were talking last week on the phone, and you was like, man, I would have stole Michael Jordan in his face.
yeah, he gotta see me. Michael Jordan he gotta see me.
Kicked off the team.
He got look. Look, I don't play that. But the thing about this documentary is like it's probably a lot of stuff that were left unsaid because
Mm,
a lot of people didn't want to share their opinions on Michael Jordan because it's his documentary. He gets to decide what
right,
you put into it. So I
right.
guarantee you, Horace Grant has some bad stuff to say. Scottie Pippen has some bad stuff to say. A
Oh,
lot of people have bad stuff to say. Patrick Ewing came out and said that he want to be a part of it because it was painful for him to even
yeah,
hear about and watch. Because like beating the Knicks in the '90s, it's like a lot of people have this vendetta or hatred or just like this anger towards Mike. So he made it out good where he made a documentary about him and make sure that his his clout is and his light is still shine. But a lot of people don't like Michael Jordan like that. The person, not the
Yeah,
player, the person, because
yeah.
he did some real shady stuff, and that we gonna probably get into it. But that Isaiah Thomas situation,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
that's
Before we
like that's like a old hip hop beef.
get that, before we get to that, another thing that stuck out to me during the documentary is when they met his hometown mayor. They was running for mayor, and it was the notorious racist mayor versus the first candidate. I forget the African American guy's name, but
Uh-huh.
they asked Michael Jordan about it, and he said, "Well, Republicans buy Jordans too." That really, I mean, we heard about Michael Jordan not supporting black people. He ain't really like black people, but when I heard that for myself, I was just like, "Well, Dad, you gonna take your personal gain over a community and what we've been going through at that point in the 80s. They was going through a lot worse than what we're going through now because they was more forward with it. They was more forward with the racism than they are now. And for you to be like, well, Republicans buy Jordans too, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, rubbed me the wrong way, because it's like, Dad, I've been buying your shoes all these years, been pressing my dad to buy you these shoes, these shoes that you put out, and you made this comment in the midst of a crucial time where you could have just made no comment, or you could have just said nothing about it. That was one thing that rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, and the thing about that is we all want uh our idols to be like out in the forefront, but everybody not built for that, man.
Right.
Everybody not like you see how the NBA, the only person that like literally speaks out is LeBron James.
Yeah.
That's for a reason because everybody like, uh, I don't want to lose my, I don't want to lose my brand or my money and say something like you gotta be the type of person that kind of do what Kaepernick did, not sacrifice your job, but like put yourself out there. Like, look, I don't stand for this, but Michael, he was just like, look, I want to keep my reputation, and I'm not really into the whole politics thing. He probably did like black people. I mean, he probably do like respect because he's black. I
Right.
would hope that he likes his own kind, but at the same time, he was young. He was trying to make a name for himself in the court, and he's like, I'm trying to be the best basketball player in the world. I'm not trying to be Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. That's not my thing.
But then
So you kind of yeah.
you don't make a comment at all. Then when somebody asks you about, hey Michael, how do you feel about it? You just say, I have no comment, because when you think about the people he surrounded or the idols that he looked up to Muhammad, um, and everything that went before his time, you would think that he either has the knowledge to, if he didn't want to do politics, that's fine. I totally agree with him not wanting to get wrapped up in the politics, because that's not his place.
Mm-hmm.
It's a choice by LeBron. It's a choice by Chris Paul. It's a choice by Carmelo. It's a choice by Dwayne Wade to be active in this. It's not required of him. It's not something that anybody said, hey, um,
But
you should
they
do this. You should do this. You're LeBron James. You should definitely no. Like, if you Michael Jordan and you don't want to do anything political wise, that's fine. I'm okay with it. But what I'm saying is, you cannot make a comment on it. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And I get it. He was young. He was trying to be focused on being the best player in the world. And it was honestly a young mistake. We're about 25 now, so we can say we made some young dumb mistakes as well. So I say, that was a mistake on him. I definitely think he learned from it. But if you're not going to be in the politics, then definitely just don't say anything about it. Just no comment. No comment. That was one thing that I found surprising as well. And in addition to the Isaiah Thomas situation as well. Because when you really look at it, Magic and Isaiah were friends. They had their going through when Magic found out that he had AIDS, and Isaiah made a comment about it. Um,
Mhm.
Chuck and Isaiah didn't really like each other. Nobody really liked Isaiah because of
nobody likes Isaiah because
Bad Boys Pistons team, and I think it was kind of unfair because they didn't really give him a chance to prove himself. You know what I'm saying? They didn't really give him a chance to say, all right, well, I can fit in with the chemistry. They just went off, based off of Bad Boys Pistons chemistry, it's not gonna work. I feel like they should at least give him a shot. They have tryouts, they have practices. Bring them in for a practice and see how it goes. If it doesn't go that way, then just have a man-to-man conversation. Be like, hey man, you rubbed a lot of people the wrong way in the league. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have to either adjust, or you can't be part of this team, and this is why. And We later find out that there's audio from 2011 with Michael Jordan saying he wasn't going to be part of the team if Isaiah Thomas on it. And I think it's just childish. I just think it's childish. I think it's selfish. When you really look at it, he could have had gold medal under his name for the Dream Team. Being part of the Dream Team is a wonderful thing for the people that were part of it. But when you know you met the credentials for it and you weren't even given the chance to compete and make a tryout for the team, you know, that's the part I look at and I'm like, dang, I'm really disappointed in everybody else on the team, not just Michael Jordan, everybody else on that team, because they are superstars within their own rights. They had the power to speak up and they didn't.
So here's my thing about the Isaiah Thomas thing. Team USA is supposed to be the best players in the world on one team.
Right.
Whether if you like each other, hate each other. At the time, Isaiah Thomas was the second best point guard in the NBA behind Magic Johnson. So that alone should give him just that nod. John Stockton was a Hall of Famer, but at that time that they wanted him on that team, he was not better than Isaiah Thomas.
No.
By any stretch of imagination. Yes, John Stockton probably would have fit better with the team because he's more of a pure point guard, pass first, get everybody involved. But if you're talking about putting the best collective talent on one team to represent the USA, Isaiah Thomas was the best. He beat Michael Jordan.
Right.
But Isaiah Thomas was pretty much the first little guard. It was Isaiah, then it was Allen Iverson, then it's like the guys like today, like Kyrie, the John Morant's. Like he was the first original
was the original
little guard killer. And look how many little guard killers there are today. So I'm like, he was the originator. And my thing is like Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, all those guys, why are they exiling Isaiah Thomas for? But he has the same kind of personality as them. He's a killer too.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He should respect that. Like, all right, look, I may not like you, but your mentality is that you're a winner and you go out there and you play hard and you kill. I have that same mentality. We should have a liking. So it's just like, I don't know, whatever Jordan say goes. So he's like, oh, if I don't play, then probably Scottie not playing and Chuck not playing. So it's going to be a domino effect. But I just think Isaiah Thomas should have been on that team, or at least had a chance to be on that team because he was one of the best.
I just think the chance, and like my father said down here, we got Big Nate commenting. He was a year removed from the final. He had beefs with Bird, Scotty, MJ, and Matt, but like he said here, his home coach didn't even stand up for him. So that speaks something too. That I will say, but
both sides. Isaiah Thomas probably got some issues too. But
yeah, he probably had some issues. He probably wasn't the best guy to be around off the court. But when you look at it, they did do all-star games together, him and Michael. They was within the same conference. They shared the floor, they shared the locker room, they shared the team together momentarily for a weekend. So when you look at that, I don't know. We don't know exactly what Isaiah's personality is because we haven't met the man. Probably never will enough to know him.
Isaiah Thomas seemed a little shady. I seen his.
He was a little shady, yeah, and I don't respect his decision not to shake anybody's hand, and he really kind of ducked off. When you really look at the film, he was behind there. He was that.
That's probably what started it.
Yeah,
I was like
hiding behind him.
You've been beating us for 3-4 years. We beating our butt 4 years, and we beat y'all this one time, and you can't shake my hand.
Good job, man. You finally done it. Like y'all was so salty because they swept y'all, and it's just like you could at least shake hands and pass off the torch, if you would say, all right, Michael, you finally got us, here you go. Congratulations, sir. But for him to do, I think that was a big stain on his career because we don't really talk about Isaiah Thomas as great of a player he was. He was one of the best point guards, still is one of the best point guards within our league, but because he played for the Bad Boy Pistons and because of the reputation he got throughout those years, throughout the stretch where they was winning, going to the championship, beating Michael Jordan and stuff, it was kind of like it definitely hurt his career resume, him not shaking Michael Jordan's hand and being left off the dream team on top of that. And I just expected Michael Jordan to just be man enough to say I did not want Isaiah Thomas on that team, and everybody else that's covering in line. We got Ron Thorne covering in line for him too. I'm like, man, just say it as it is. Nobody wanted him there. And that's the story that could have been out there. You could live with that. You know what I'm saying? All right, they didn't want Isaiah. This is the story. At least they was men and said, hey, we don't want him because he's an a-hole. All right, cool. Like Big Nate mentioned, we got Dream Team was for hanging out. You practice about 4 or 5 hours a day. You hang out for the rest of the time. You travel these different countries and stuff.
Uh-huh.
If nobody really wanted to hang out with you as a person off the court, that is a problem. That is a problem.
Yeah,
So
I gotta look at it both sides too. Like, you know, Isaiah Thomas probably wasn't the greatest guy to be around. I'm just talking about strictly like he should have
yeah,
been in the dream
yeah,
team besides John Stockton. That's just my opinion. No offense to John Stockton, he's great, but
right.
no.
And they had a couple players on that team which I thought that Isaiah could have been chosen over. They had Larry Bird that wasn't even practicing that much. He was, he was
Larry
at
Bird had no back.
it. Larry Bird was on the sideline. If you watch that film of them practicing, he was chilling. He was laying on his back, his stomach, and everything. You got Magic Johnson within his last stretch, and you got Chuck. You got the
Charles Barkley led the team in scoring.
See, there you go. So you got all these good players, and like you said, based off the credentials, he definitely should have made that team. And I don't think anybody should not make the team based off their personality. Because if that was the case, they could have said, "Well, Michael's an a-hole. I don't want to play with Michael. Michael always beats us. Why we got to play with this man?" Like Michael.
Did you hear about the practices they had?
Huh?
You hear about the practices they had and how
Oh yeah,
Jordan
it was
cussed
in.
out Magic, like they was beating them, they was beating his team, but then Michael was like, "There's a new sheriff in town. I'm gonna give it to y'all today," and then he went out there and bust their butt. So
I just
that's that little. Oh, Mike, why you gotta do all that stuff? Like, that's not necessary. It's not a real game, man. Like, you don't have to do that. He just wanted
worry.
he just wanted to show y'all, like, look,
But
this is
that goes back to what you said earlier, just that competitiveness. Like it takes a little thing just for you to say something to him, and he just be so competitive in a practice. It can be a pickup game. It can be a 3-on-3, 2-on-2, 1-on-1. It didn't matter. Like he was a competitor. He just always competed, and it could have brought it. You either roll with it, like he said, you either play that way, and if you don't want to play that way, then that's fine. Then that's how he probably viewed it. Um,
Jordan's not for everybody, man.
Yeah, Jordan. I think
Jordan,
there's a couple
Jordan's for everybody.
players. There's Kobe, Kevin Garnett. There's a couple players that you gotta be. They're different breed. They're gonna be those trash talkers. They're gonna get up in your face and they want to get the best out of you. Um,
Yeah,
so
and yeah, some people can't answer to that because just the way their personality is. You really gotta be like fit for Mike and Kobe and all them because they gonna get on you. Like,
and that's the difference between them and LeBron as well. Because LeBron, they all draw these comparisons to three of them. And LeBron is a little bit more welcoming as a teammate than Michael Jordan was or Kobe was. He's a little bit more down to earth. Um, one thing I want to touch on before we do a little switch here. I want to ask you if they had stayed together for another year. Do you think they would have went back to the championship and won?
come on, this is 1999. When was the last year together? 98 when they played the
Yeah,
Utah.
98 was last year.
So this is 1999. The last next year, I think it was the Spurs and the Knicks that went to the finals. I don't. So the thing is, I don't see nobody in the East that could beat them again. So I would say the both stay together.
Even the
They,
Pacers?
they said it themselves. They stay together. They probably would have won again. So I got them going to the finals again.
Okay. I
Yeah,
say I say just because it's another year, I don't think they would have got to the finals. I think they would have went game 7 in the Eastern Conference. But I think one of the teams like the Knicks or the Pacers who were right there on the cusp at the time definitely would have got definitely
that's
would
true.
have got
Yeah, it was a lockout too. So
oh it
they
was a lot of
made it.
50 games. I can see Michael, but I don't see Michael taking them back because when you look back at the documentary, he was physically tired at that last championship. Like to go back and do that again with those same dudes, like it would have been fun, yes, but I don't think realistically they would have won another championship. I do believe if he didn't retire the first time, they would have won 8 straight. I don't see anybody beating them at that time.
Yeah, I mean that Houston probably gave him a good
Houston
run.
would have gave him a run, but then Houston couldn't get over the Jazz. That's why they played the Jazz in back-to-back finals. So it was like, yeah,
Yeah, the Bulls
just
definitely
take it to the finals.
they
They did win a finals, and that was during the time that Michael Jordan was out. But I think Michael Jordan still would have found a way to beat the Rockets there for
yeah,
sure.
I think even though they won six, they're probably looking back today like we could have won 9 or 10 if everything went according to like if everything was perfect. They could have won 10.
Yeah, if they wanted to, if they really wanted to, they could have won. They could have had the longest win streaks in the finals. It would have been ridiculous and unbeatable. Um, but yeah, we're gonna do a little switch here. We're gonna bring in Big Nate. I'm a FaceTime Neil on the MacBook here. We're gonna try to set this up to where we have a three-way conversation. But I appreciate you, my brother. Like I said, everybody who was watching today who's tapped in. Tap into my brother Neil here. He's a DJ in the Baltimore area. Tap
Yeah,
into him. You need any event. Um, if Corona allows you to have any events or anything, hit him up. DM him, see what his prices are, hook him up.
appreciate you. I'll be on, bro.
All right, bro.
All right.
All right. My brother Neil here. We're going to work on getting them tapped into this FaceTime on the MacBook. In the meantime, wait for Big Nate to tap in. We're going to continue this conversation with Michael Jordan real quick. Just get a couple of insights since he actually lived through that era. Um, we definitely want to get his opinion on that and what happened during that time. All right, so we'll give him a couple minutes to tap in here. All right, here we go. Here we go. Welcome to episode 3, Big Nate. How you feeling today?
I'm all right. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, just wanted to bring you in on the topic we were talking about in terms of the Michael Jordan Last Dance documentary. I definitely wanted to get your viewpoint since you lived through that era. You vividly remember what happened during that time. So, first things first, want to get your thoughts on that Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan beef or feud, as we should call it.
I don't think it really was a beef per se. It was a changing of the guard, and Isaiah kind of interrupted the changing of the guard. The face of the NBA at the time was Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. It had gravitated from Dr. J to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird when they came in, and it was moving on to Michael Jordan. But the Pistons interrupted that for the 2 years in which they came. Chuck Daly put together a great team. They had defensive stoppers, and they changed the game with playing defense. And they played within the rules. There were no layup rules then, and they played within the rules, and they interrupted the sort of changing of the guard. So along the way, he ruffled a lot of feathers and did not take heed to all of that. He ruffled a lot of feathers. Him and Magic were born friends. They used to kiss on the cheek pregame before each game, even during the finals. But when Magic got HIV positive, he questioned Magic's sexuality. That was a dispute in itself amongst them. He had hard fouls against Bird. He questioned Bird, saying Bird is not a great player. He would just be if he wasn't white, he would just be another average brother in the hood with a jump shot. So he
Right.
questioned Bird's game, different things like that. He questioned Scottie Pippen's heart. He questioned Charles Barkley's heart and his weight and told me he was lazy and he couldn't play with them or whatever. So he ruffled a lot of feathers along the way
Mhm.
that his resume may have been enough to get to the dream team if you just compare resumes and everybody picks out John Stockton and say he is John Stockton. But John Stockton was younger and was more upcoming.
Right.
Isaiah was on the decline when the dream team came on, and then you add the personality differences that he had with a lot of people on the team. It just didn't sit well with a lot of members. Now, when you got your own coach, you got your coach that did not stick up for you, and he still didn't up until his death. He still didn't stick up for you. He said he wished that 4 Pistons would have went to the dream team. He could have took 4 of his players to the dream team. He didn't sing Wild Isaiah. He
Right.
said 4. He wished he could have took 4. So he didn't even stand up for them. And during the vote, that would have been a critical thing if Chuck Daly was like, we got to have Isaiah. And if he had 1 or 2 more people in his corner to say, hey, we got to have Isaiah on this team, maybe it would have changed some things. He would have had Isaiah. But along with the dream team, what I was saying, it was 3 weeks of hanging out along with basketball. The dream team changed a lot of things that when back then, before the dream team, Olympians used to stay in the Olympic Village, which was basically like dormitories. They had cots, they had heated tents and different things in a village to where different groups stayed. When they had the dream team, because you had multimillionaires, they had to put them up in like the Ritz-Carlton. So they changed the culture of the games for some of the athletes, and they were away from the Olympic Village. They used to go down to the Olympic Village and talk to the athletes and everything, but they were in the hotel. So if you think about, you and Neil think about, you got a beef with somebody in high school and college, and you got to spend 3 weeks across the hall from that dude.
Yeah.
Every waking minute you got to eat with him. You got to be, he there when you wake up. He got practice with you. You on the bus with him. Everything else, that ain't gonna work for 3 weeks. You hosed in this hotel, and you got to spend 3 to 4 weeks overseas with nowhere to go. Nobody didn't know you. No spouse, no girlfriend, nobody else but
So,
these other 11 dudes, and he one of them. That nobody wanted that.
right. See, this is why I wanted to get your insight on it, because I was not hip to him ruffling feathers with all these players, and
Yeah,
what was said to ruffle these feathers. Um,
right.
Question Scotty's heart. He told Larry Bird he basically just a white boy
Yeah,
with a jumper. You got
yeah.
Magic.
I mean, said that on TNT at a halftime that
Yes.
if Larry Bird was not white, he would just be an average brother with a jump shot.
See, and that I understand a little bit more now why they didn't want to have him a part of that team, because he ruffled these feathers. And yeah, you know, words are words, but those are meaningful words, especially from
Yeah.
that person. So when you question somebody's sexuality, where you guys were brothers before, whether or
Yep.
not I get a contracted STD or not, you question my sexuality just based on what everybody's saying around the STD, and you not really doing your research and having knowledge on it. That one,
Right.
oh, I don't want to spend time with you. I don't want to spend time with you if you sit here and beat me up, hard fouls and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm weak and all this stuff, and you rocking that real bad boys Pistons viewpoint.
Yeah.
Um, I can definitely see why they didn't want to do um
Now,
with them. What are your thoughts on it, Neil?
Um, I didn't know everything about. I didn't know that he had to get all these players. I didn't know that. I'm just to the point where like I guess with the whole team USA, I guess we're overseas, so it's like they need to have a good time as well. Like it's not just basketball.
Right.
But if somebody's gonna be at ease or like uncomfortable, they got to take that consideration. Like, all right, if you bring this player on, the gang gonna be lit. Like the gang gonna be nice. We gonna vote people out, but like I think we got like it's gonna be some
Right. Going out to eat and
like it's
everything.
gonna be very like
mm-hmm.
it's like
Yeah.
like bring your boys, but you got these punk guys companies like the gang strike like come in for a couple days, but that's why I kind of like I see why Jordan didn't want Isaiah Thomas on the team. If he was, he wouldn't play because it's like you're not just playing basketball, you're actually having like a mini vacation in a way.
Right. It's a brotherhood at the end of the day.
You don't
Like,
want
you
to try
trying
to
to,
throw with your friends. It's like you really stop that you don't like. Now you have a great experience.
for
Right.
sure.
Right. And it was the bigger robbery or the bigger slight should always be, we always go to Isaiah Thomas and we put John Stockton in and say, well, Isaiah should have went over John Stockton. No, the bigger slight that they don't never talk about that you guys generation don't know is if you look at career wise and player wise, not at the time when both of them were coming out of college, but I'm talking about where they became. Why was Christian Laettner there over Shaq?
That's what I wanted to. That's what that's thinking about when I said there was a couple.
Because the way it was structured, they wanted one college player
Mm-hmm.
to go. That's how it was structured because they wanted to keep that it was the college players and they wanted one college player and he was the player of the year. Now Christian Laettner was the player of the year right then, but the more dominant player was Shaquille O'Neal.
Right. For sure.
So
For sure.
so that was a robbery in itself as opposed to Isaiah Thomas over John Stockton because everybody knew that once they put the dream team together and the way the NBA was and world basketball that there was going to be a victory. It was just a matter of how many points they won by. So it didn't matter who was on that squad or not. It was just a matter of how many points they were going to win by. But the Christian Laettner over Shaquille,
Yeah.
And Christian Laettner barely played, even though bouts.
Play.
So,
So thank you for those inputs on what it was like and getting more knowledge about what really went down during that era.
yeah.
A lot of people will twist words, everything make everything look nice for everybody else, but just getting the cold hard facts of what Isaiah said and what real reason definitely helped my insight.
Yeah. And now Mike MJ could have ended all of it, even during the 10-part documentary over the last 5 weeks. He could have squashed a lot of it and just said, we didn't want him there. He didn't even have to say it. He didn't. He could have just said we. Because everybody knows it's going to fall back on you. But
Right.
Mike did a lot of so-called dry snitching and throwing people underneath the bus. He did it with Horace Grant. I don't purposely believe Horace Grant was in there. Horace Grant was one of the ones that stood up to him. I'm like, I'm a grown-ass man, and you tell me I'm not going to eat?
Right.
Because I had a bad game? It's like, no, I'm going to eat. So, but Mike, that was Mike. You didn't play the way he thought you were supposed to play. He was going to rule over you and try to bully you until you broke. And, he did it. He did it with Scotty Burrell. He rode that man. And Scotty didn't even last that long after Mike was gone from Chicago, just based on that. And he was a good player in college.
Right.
But Mike could have ended all of it and just said, I didn't want him there or we didn't want him there. It wasn't a good fit. And it would have been done.
Definitely agree.
Nobody would look for tapes to uncover or anything. They just said he didn't want them there.
Right. That's all he had to say. That's all. That was back to what if it's gonna be, we don't want him there, then it's we, or you just saying it all. But like you said, it was always gonna come back on Michael because he was the alpha male of the group.
Yeah.
Dominant of the group. He was Michael Jordan. He was the best player in the world at the time. So it's all gonna come back to him.
Right.
I want to get on this next topic so that you and I have been discussing for about a year now. The Dak Prescott contract dispute. I know that I had a couple conversations with Neil, had a couple conversations with coworkers about this and just friends and family. What do you think? Let me start by asking this question. What do you think Dak Prescott is worth yearly? And what do you see the contract he's going to ultimately get?
Okay. Now, one, let me go back a little. They could have done this contract after year 2. After Dak took you 13-3 the first year, he took you 10-6 the next year with Zeke missing 6 games, and even after the third year, they could have, into the third year, they could have did this contract and probably came out at a lower rate. But once you got 2 players that in the same draft that went 1 and 2 in the draft, and you have outplayed them statistically and record-wise. I'm talking about Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, but you don't get the recognition that they get. Don't know why. They say, well, you're not as pretty with the ball or whatever. But if you look at every stat, he surpasses both of them in every stat and even wins. I mean, even with Carson Wentz, he's 5-3, and one of those losses was the game that he only played the first series because it was Tony Romo's last game. And they end up losing that. So I throw that out the window and say he's 5-2 against them.
Right.
So you look at it as that you had, so your market value, what he should be paid at, you should be paid what the market says. So if the market is set that I should be paid behind Russell Wilson, then that's what I should be paid. I shouldn't. I should at least get enough guaranteed money that I'm there with Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. Period. Who came out in the same draft, was 1 and 2, and I was a fourth round draft pick, and I have outplayed them. So I should get as much as them. Period. That's where he should be paid. The issue is a lot of the talk is he got 45 million on the back end. Now that's 45 million in deferred money that they want to pay him, like Jerry did with Tony Romo and Troy Aikman and everybody else. I think Tony got paid up until this year was his last year, and he ain't played in 2 years.
Last year.
Yeah, so he still counted dead money against the cap. But Dak Prescott wants 4 years. He wants his guaranteed money because the new TV contract will be out, and when his 4 years is up, and he wants another payday. He wants to align himself up for a new contract. They want to give him 5 to 6 years because they want to lock him in there to lowball him in his 5th or 6th year. The NFL, they talk a good thing. Like you look at Amari Cooper's contract. It's 5 years, $100 million. Only 3 years of that is guaranteed with the 60-something million. So we all know what's going to happen after the 3rd year. He's going to be released, or the contract is going to be reworked. And that's why Zeke stood in line. That's why Zeke leapfrogged the line to get his money, because when his money is done and they want to release him or lowball him with a contract, he'll be 29 and he could go somewhere else, or he'll still be in line if he's productive to get another payday. Maybe smaller, but this was his chance to guarantee another payday. And that's what Dak Prescott wants. So I agree, Jerry Jones is going to have to end up paying him his money. And all of this talk is like they offer him money. They're making him the second highest player behind Russell Wilson. I don't believe all of that, because you have yet to say what the guaranteed money is. So if you have offered all of that, and the two of you guys have played football, the guaranteed money is where it is. This ain't basketball where everything is guaranteed. Tell me what the guaranteed money is on this contract that supposedly is going to make me the second highest quarterback in there.
Well,
Because I want to know that.
they came out with a report, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I don't know if it's true, but they said it was $108 million of guaranteed money, which is amongst the top 3, I believe, in terms of guaranteed money. I think Russell Wilson would still get more guaranteed money, but I agree with you in terms of paying him the market value and wanting that 4-year deal. That's what I've been telling everybody. He wants a 4-year deal because when you look at everybody else's deal, Zeke's deal is up around that same time.
Yeah.
Deals up around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at Dak's age. Dak is 26. So Dak's 30, and we'll be wanting another payday.
Yeah.
And like you said, the TV market, those deals come out in about 4 years too. So just wanting to get paid what he deserves. I think the Joneses do a lot of talking, talking. They ended up caving with Zeke. They said, "Oh, we're not gonna make him the highest paid running back." They made him the highest paid running back.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to make that one of the highest paid quarterbacks, especially when you look at the quarterbacks who are listed ahead of him, Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. Now you and I have this thing about Jared Goff where Sean McVay is Jared Goff. Basically.
exactly.
Like Sean McVay is Jared Goff. He talks in his ear to 15 seconds and gives him the plays. He can't read his own defense. And in terms of Carson Wentz, the man ain't won nothing.
No.
Went to the playoffs one time and lasted 2.5 quarters.
Yeah, that's Mr. Glass.
Yeah, see, you can't trust him. They had to go get just for security.
Yeah.
That's just my...
And the security is he's going to end up starting before the season is over because something is going to happen to Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
So, and then somebody said, does Dalton's contract further delay Dak's contract? I don't think so. I think you guaranteed yourself a great backup from all of the backups that were there, but who isn't a threat to take over Dak's job. So if Dak is having a bad game, nobody's going to be on the sideline hollering to put Andy Dalton there. If you got Cam Newton, then that may change. Nobody's going to be on the sideline hollering, put Andy Dalton in. Even if you yank Dak for a quarter because you done lost this game, you down 15, 20 points, and it's 5 minutes to go, and you yank him, nobody's going next week going to be like, put Andy Dalton there. No. So I don't think that delays his contract. He just, and the Joneses, and they do a lot of negotiating and a lot of talking in the media. and that way it gets
They do this.
American public on their side.
Hmm.
That well, Dak is turning down this, Dak is turning down that. No, I need to see the guaranteed money that he's turning down.
Right.
Show me that, show me that, and then I say he's turning it down.
We're not able to see exactly what it is. They're still trying to figure it out. I think it's something minor, in terms of guaranteed money and when the money's going to go, and not being able to adjust like they love to do, come back and convert stuff to a signing bonus. So just think
Yeah,
it's what's your thoughts on it, Neil?
I think Jerry Jones got extreme confidence in that person.
Definitely.
yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, it's a lot of people in line for payday in Dallas, and that's the reason why. Like you and Neil have both have been high on Byron Jones, and great, he's a great corner, everything, one of the top rated corners, but he never turned the pass deflections into interceptions. So they never were going to pay him top dollar, and I think I told you this 2 years ago, Brandon, that Byron Jones was going to be the odd man out because you can't pay everybody. So if you're paying Zeke, and then you're paying Amari, and then you got to pay Dak. You already paid Jalen, and then you got Van Der Esch coming up. Everybody can't get paid because Tank then already got money. That's the reason why you couldn't keep Robert Quinn. Everybody can't get paid. It's not enough money to go around.
You said you paying up for the future.
I'm paying that because he's been every game he's produced. Yes, he hasn't won the big one yet, but he's been successful. He's playing quarterback. Market like the quarterback is high. Rush for like those two kind of like coexist. So if you got in for what you believe in the season, you drafted all these weapons decent.
Hmm.
If you believe that prospect should die, pay them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pay
What?
him, get him in there, because if you believe that the one person that was holding you back was Jason Garrett, and now you got Mike McCarthy, then you pay this man to change the thing. If that's what you firmly believe, that Dak didn't win the big game because he had Jason Garrett holding him back, then and now that Mike McCarthy is there, you pay him.
My thing is this. I don't like the stereotype that they place on Dak Prescott. Oh, he's in a good system. He got a good offensive line. He got good receivers. Oh, he got Zeke in the backfield. Yes, yes, and yes. But what more do you want for a quarterback to be successful in the NFL? You want him to go
Yeah,
to where he doesn't have an offensive line, doesn't have weapons, struggle, and then bring that team out the dirt? Or would you want him to be a fourth rounder, outperform what was expected of him, and um, play that quarterback role so successfully? You don't have to make deep throws in that offense. You don't have
mm-mm.
to throw for 300 yards. You don't have to throw for 5 touchdowns in that offense. You just have to do 250, over 250 yards. You got to do 2 touchdowns at least a game, either you running or passing, and you just have to manage the game when you have 21 in the backfield and you have these all-pro linemen in front of you, and then you got a
Yeah,
defense that's young and up and coming. You got some linebackers that's going to run around and make some plays. So that's all you really want from him. I hate when people say, "Well, you can't pay Dak because he has Zeke." Okay, but he still had a winning record without Zeke. Yeah,
yeah,
it was 500. It was 500 when Zeke was out, but he still had a winning record.
right. But here's the flip side. So you pay Russell. So you don't have you say, well, you compare him to Russell a lot, but Russell doesn't have the line. You don't get him the weapons. You pay in the defensive side and everything else, and then you say, well, Russell wins opposed to that. Okay, but do you really? Now I like Russell Wilson, great fan, everything, but really look at Russell Wilson's playoff record. It's 9-6, and he's been in what, 8 years? Now, granted, he's won a Super Bowl and been to a second one, right? But he's been there with a great defense, Bobby Wagner, the Legion of Doom,
Unless
beast mode in the backfield, and everything. When he's been to the Super Bowl, the 2 times that he's had pieces around him that got him to the Super Bowl with him. He didn't do it all by himself. So the last 3 years, when he's all by himself, his playoff record is 9-6 in the career. Dak is in his 4th year. His playoff record is 1-2. Okay. So if you surrounded yourself, because the game has moved more offensive, now you got offensive weapons for him to put up points on the board, because apparently the defense, as much as we like Chris Rashad, defense wasn't stopping nobody last year.
Yeah.
So that was a bend and break defense that it wasn't stopping nobody this year. So if you're gonna load up and you CeeDee Lamb falls into your lap, and you got Mike McCarthy, the guru from Green Bay, and you're gonna run a more explosive offense. You got Zeke getting the ball more, the more dump offs. You're gonna utilize Dak's legs or whatever. You got to get him in there so you can pay him and get everything working.
Right. Have to pay him. That's the big thing. You have to pay Dak if you want him to do all this stuff, you add all these pieces, and I think they're counting as negatives against him. Well, you got CeeDee Lamb. We went and got Amari Cooper for you. We drafted Michael Gallup for you. We drafted Blake Jarwin for you. We already had this offensive line and Zeke for Tony Romo. But now it fall into your lap, and now they just like, we don't want to pay you, or we want to keep you on a 5-year deal so we can. I think the money's pretty much guaranteed upon. I think the guaranteed money in the years is the disagreeing point.
Yeah, yeah.
And once and I hate that he did it, that he played out on that contract. But you got to prove yourself. But then you got to get paid. You got to know that the Joneses are going to pay you. Money. Like the Joneses are known. More recently for BSing. They wait to the last minute. They like to squeeze everything they can until they have no other option. And
right.
We training camps right now where they was in Oxnard or they was going to Oxnard in a couple weeks. I would not be there if I was Dak Prescott. And I would want my quarterback to be there, but I would not be there just because you expect me to show up. You expect me to do all these things like I did last year. I played on $2 million last year.
Yep.
$31 million.
No, but it wasn't $2 million that you gave me, because on my contract I only made $1.3 million. The NFL, because I outplayed that contract with the bonuses, got me to $2.3 million. You didn't willingly give me that, so and then you expect me to willingly take this. So if you having trouble negotiating the things, you could do a Kirk Cousins thing. We're gonna give you a 2-year guarantee, $65-70 million. Here you go, boom. We at the table, we negotiating everything else. You got 2 years, you guarantee. We got some more time to negotiate that, and let's roll from there.
He negotiated another 3 years.
Yeah, he did. And contrary, the owners don't like him because he's changing the market. He's getting guaranteed contracts to where all of his money is there. So if I stink up the joint and you end up cutting me, I still got my money. Yeah. He got 3 years of guaranteed money with the Redskins, 2 years of guaranteed money with the Vikings, and 2 more years coming. So you add those up, he got 7 years of guaranteed money.
And that's the way I think that. Bro, when you looked at Kirk Cousins' deal when it first broke, I know we got 3 minutes for a cutoff, but when you look at it, when you look at the deal he made for himself, a $64 million fully guaranteed deal, everybody was like, wow, this is the first fully guaranteed contract of the NFL. And it was really good because they came back, played out those 3 years, or they came back on the second year. I can't remember. But they did another extension to where that's fully. Yep. And I think that's what Dak is trying to do. He's trying to keep it down. Like you said, the TV market's going to bring in more money in about 4 years. Also wants to hit the market if Boo Boo hits the fan and the Cowboys go 1-5 the next 5 years, or they want to go ahead and cut him, then still gets paid. So it's like Tony Romo and Des Bryant was getting paid last year too.
Yeah, he was
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Romo just now stopped getting paid, and he get $8+ million from CBS and everything.
Yeah. So
that's pretty much. I appreciate you fellas coming out and doing this with me. Episode. Yeah. I know we got 1 minute and 24 coming down. I just wanted to say we're gonna be doing this bi-weekly. There will be an IG channel for this. Will be an IG page called NB3 Sports Talk. So we're gonna start casting from there. Tune into that, or we'll be posting that in my IG story, as well as the bio. Like I said, we have YouTube as well, B4 Sports. We will be posting tonight's show on that YouTube channel. So please check it out in my bio. Subscribe. Like I said, I really appreciate helping me through this journey, making this real for me.
All right, y'all take it easy now.
All right, see y'all in about 2 weeks.
All right.